I'm going to talk about tier two because tier one is almost a waste of time. Probably in the year 2020, 2% of capital that was raised via Reg A Plus came in via tier one. So I don't want to dwell on tier one. Tier two starts at zero and now goes up to $75 million per year. That's so it's capped, but it's also a large number for many companies. But you can do it, and you can do it successive years, right? You can do it year after year. Investors of any wealth level, including accredited investors are not limited as to how much they can invest. Non-accredited investors are limited. It's all self-stated by the investor, and we don't need to prove or verify it. Non-accredited investors can invest up to 10% of their net worth or their annual income per offering, which is really a very generous, very big number, right? Somebody making 200K a year, say 100K a year, they're non-accredited, they can invest $10,000 in your Reg A Plus. That's a lot of money for that person at that income level, especially because they could do the same thing in the next Reg A Plus they like. So it is really not very restrictive. Um, you are allowed by the SEC to market the offering worldwide, which is not to say that the local regulators will approve of it. We haven't had any problems except in Canada so far. In Canada, the federal regulator just said you got to go to the states. You got to get permission from the states. Fair enough. The states, the other word that I've forgotten for the regions of Canada. The restrictions in promoting, describing, and marketing a Reg A Plus are more limited than they are more tight, if you will, than in Reg D. In Reg D, you can make some predictions about returns you intend. You can make predictions about accomplishments you intend in your business. In the case of Reg A Plus, you have to be very careful because the SEC does not want they're protecting Main Street investors, mamas and grandmothers and, people that could be fooled easily. Therefore, grandiose statements are never allowed anyway. Like we have the cure for cancer, something extreme like that is obviously not going to be allowed. But you cannot say we're acquiring companies and we're going to acquire 50 companies in the next 12 months. That's not allowed. That's just too much of a predictive statement, then it may not come true. Being as how we're all entrepreneurs here, and you've got to be an optimist, it's almost certainly not going to come true if we face the reality of it. There's no blue sky requirements for registration, with some peculiar exceptions that I won't dwell on at great length here in a Reg A Plus, so in a Tier 2 Reg A Plus. So essentially, you can pretty simply raise money. It takes, if your company has existed for 2 years or longer, you need a US GAAP audit to do a Reg A Plus. That's an expense and a hassle. And you have to file with the SEC to file a Form 1A in order to get qualified by the SEC to conduct your Reg A Plus. So you're talking about a 4-month journey, 2 months of preparation, 2 months to get through the SEC process, and front-loaded expenses for the audit, for the securities attorney, and so forth. So reckon that it's going to cost 150K, roughly speaking, to go from we're starting this to, oh, great, we're qualified and now we can raise money month 5 or thereabouts, assuming an efficient process. That's, you can spend a lot more, you might be able to spend a bit less, but that's, kind of that's a pretty reasonable number to consider at the low end of the range, including everything, not excluding anything, including all expenses. Once you're qualified, you've had 12 months to raise the money. And it's a heck of a lot easier to raise money in a Reg A Plus if you are marketing an offering that is appealing to Main Street investors. There's so many more people. So many of them didn't have these opportunities before. And if they love your company or like what you're doing or find it an exciting investment, then it's very much easier to raise money from them. Reg A plus investors are optimists. Reg D investors are generally pessimists. I'm a bloody pessimist. I've done so many deals where I've lost my shirt. I've learned the hard way that I need to be a pessimist, as have many other accredited investors. And let's face it, when you're accredited, you have a bazillion opportunities of places to put your money. Um, we've had instances when people come through from advertising to an offering on Manhattan Street Capital, we require them to see the investment process or to invest. We require them, they click a button and they have to give us their email at least. And so then they're part of the engaged audience that we, our companies market to, and the marketing agencies market to. We build a bigger and bigger audience. So we've had days recently where out of 10 people who would give us their email from clicking on that button, 7 of them would invest on their first visit. So you know when that's happening, obviously this is an exciting offering, but you also know these are optimists, right? A pessimist would look at it, click on it, check it out, come back later, ask the wife, do some research. Optimists are who we're dealing with. So we need to protect them and make sure that they're fully informed and don't really expect them to read the offering circular. 150 pages is a little bit heavy going. So let's be real about that. But anyway, Reg A Plus, you're dealing with optimists. And if you're doing it right and you've got a compelling offering, 60% of the money is invested now via smartphones. And it takes 3 to 4 minutes, 5 minutes. It's such a different situation than we used to have. It's a very nice dynamic.